Thank you, Mr. Tarani, um, Mr. Karpe, Ms. Sushma Belia, Professor Anil Dattatraya Sahasrabuddhe, Dr. Naushad for this, and Mr. Shankar Banavarayar, and a distinguished audience. I actually represent the Indian National Academy of Engineering, which is the only engineering academy in the country. So in a sense, I represent both the academic world and the industrial world in India. I'll just take a couple of minutes to speak about the Indian National Academy of Engineering. It's actually a body of fellows who are elected with due process, and they probably represent the cream of engineering, engineers, technologists, and engineering scientists. The Indian National Academy of Engineering is also a member of the world body which represents academies of engineering and technology. We have been working with CII recently, of late, to in this very noble objective of industry academia collaboration and partnership. I think the CII has been the vanguard, the leader in this respect. I recall about a year back that we had a similar conference which was held in Delhi, and I think this is very timely and relevant. The fact is that the university represents the education, both technical and non-technical education. So we have like a chain which can be called as education, innovation, technology, and economic benefit to the society. The university, as I mentioned, is the vanguard of education, and the industry is the spearhead of the technology and invention. This is very relevant today for India because India is going, I think, for the first time through a phase of urbanization. And this urbanization, one of the slogans that we have, one of the visions that we have, is Make in India. And I think the success of this Make in India vision will largely depend on contributions both from the academic world as well as from the industry, industry represented by, say, manufacturing. So the ultimate objective of the education and technology and industry is really that give a breath of fresh air in the quality of life of the nation's the people of the nation. I have a few comments which would be both sided in a sense with respect to industry and also with respect to the academic bodies that we have. We have very elite academic bodies in the country. For example, the IITs, the NITs, and other institutes of higher learning. The fact is that we have had a small beginning in industry academia collaboration. It's not really much to write home about. INA, of course, is very thankful to AICT, the All India Council of Technical Education, because as early as the late 90s, in 99 in fact, we introduced jointly with AICT a scheme called a Distinguished Visiting Professor Scheme, which facilitated technologists, outstanding technologists from the industry, to go to academic institutes and take the music of the industry, so to say, to the academic bodies. The disconnect between academic bodies and industry in India is very large when one considers the fact that we have a large body of very educated people working in the industry, highly educated people working in the industry. India is one of the few countries, if I may mention this. Now, 99 to 2015, of course, we had some experience, limited experience with this experiment funded by AICT, but it has been successful. We also have a reverse scheme in the Indian National Academy of Engineering, which is that the academicians, the professors from the institutes, can go to the industry funded by the INA and AICT and spend time there looking at what's happening in the industry. The matter of fact is that whether it's India or United States or any country you take, there isn't just one single center of knowledge creation. Now, knowledge is created in many different places, including at the universities, at the R&D institutions, and also in the industry. In fact, in many respects, the industry is far ahead of the academia in knowledge creation and knowledge utilization. So there has to be exchange between the academia and the industry for the benefit of society. I have a few points because of the limited time, which I'll just go through. And this is with respect to the Indian scenario only. But I would like to quote Charles West, who was a former president of MIT, and later on he was the president of the National Academy of Engineering in the United States. What he said is that you can't contribute to society unless the academia and the industry and the government work together. So it's a tripartite initiative that would be successful in giving something back to society on a large platform. In India, we have, as I mentioned, we have elite institutions like IITs and other education institutes, and we have very brilliant technologies working in the industry, taking the industry forward in terms of efficiency, energy efficiency, in terms of cost optimization, in terms of new products, in terms of new services from the industry also. But the disconnect is pretty large, as I said. One thing that lacks in Indian universities, particularly technical institutions, and there are many of them here, is that we have no orientation towards patenting. For example, that Indian institutions, engineering institutions, do not produce a significant number of patents. If you look at United States or China even, all the technical institutes there, they are also engaged in the game of patenting their inventions. Patents are important. The patents orientation in academic institutions is important, because I'll make a quote here. Patents promote innovation and can enhance potential research funding from the industry, corporations and business houses to invest in university projects. And if you see United States, of course, you see at the height of it that the universities are the beneficiaries of large projects funded by the industry. It doesn't happen in India. Academic institutions in India are highly course-oriented, highly teaching-oriented. And they do research, of course, some of them do outstanding research, but that research doesn't often get converted into an innovation or a patent. And I think this is something that the government, the Ministry of Human Resource Development, the Ministry of Science and Technology must pay attention to, because if we are going to progress in the phase of urbanization, I think it's very critical that we also are an innovative, inventive society with respect to technical innovations. The other point I would like to mention is that the eminent vehicles for university-industry partnership are actually national projects. Otherwise, they go for purely money-making purposes. We in India, developing nations, we do have a lot of national projects. I'll give you an example, which is a very positive example. The Ministry of Steel is currently considering to set up what's called a Steel Research and Technology Mission of India. It will be part funded by the government, but also major funding will come from the industry, and there is agreement between the large steel companies that they would do so. It will work on programs that are critical to the steel sector. This is in the right direction. The Ministry of Steel also, because I am connected with the Ministry of Steel, has set up several steel research centers, particularly in IITs and similar academic bodies. This is a significant step, but the success of this program will depend on to what extent industry experts participate in the steel research centers. If the steel research centers are going to be managed 100% by academicians, I don't think it will produce many inventions or innovations. It will produce research papers. But mind you, all research papers, all of us have published hundreds of research papers. All research papers do not lead to an innovation. They advance, of course, our understanding of certain scientific frontiers, but otherwise they do not necessarily result in an innovation. For research and development to result in an innovation and then translate to a technology, there has to be a strong orientation in all the research programs, R&D programs. There is also another pointer for industry leaders, and the industry leaders at their level should spend some of their time as corporate honchos or leaders in actually attracting students and even young teachers to the industry through internship programs with a suitable compensation package. In India, unfortunately, this is not happening. There are companies I can quote who have internship programs to attract good students, but I don't see that happen on a large scale. The country today has also several R&D institutions. I mean, to name a few, like BARC, very prestigious institutions, DMRL, DRDL, NCML, and of course the behemoth that is CSIR. CSIR is actually Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, but the proportion of industrial research in CSIR laboratories is not really very large. And also, there doesn't seem to be any emphasis in this tripartite collaboration between R&D institutions, universities, and the industry. We have some experiment going on in CSIR, for example, that they are also becoming quasi-academic bodies in the sense that they are taking research programs that would lead to PhD degrees. Hopefully it will succeed, this experiment will succeed, and that will produce a large number of large number of people trained in research and development. But even then, these programs that CSIR is conducting for the last 2-3 years should have industry experts coming and participating in them. Finally, I would like to mention a point that how Indians are doing so well in being inventive and taking patents in the United States. Dr. Sangeeta Bhatia in 2014 was the winner of the what's called the Lemelson MIT Prize in 2014, and for having 11 patents and applying for 127 patents on micro and nanotechnology for two-story pair. I'm just mentioning that the Indians are as good as anybody in the world. The question is that we must have the right environment and right orientation to become more inventive. It isn't that by nature we are not innovative or inventive. It is that we have as much potential to be inventive and innovative, but we need to create that kind of an orientation. And I think both industry and the academic institutions have a role to play. The other point I would like to mention is that there are industries in India which are making very rapid progresses, particularly in the information technology and telecom industry. I don't see them actually coming forward to interact with academic institutions. And the whole development of the evolution of the IT industry in the United States is of course mostly outside the academic world, but still has a strong collaboration with the academic institutions like Stanford University or MIT or places like that. So there is no question about it that we need more intense engagement. We need to have a stronger connection between industry and academia, and all of us have to apply our mind. The people in the industry, the people in the academia, and the people in the government must apply our minds to see that there is a significant improvement on the scale of this interaction than it prevails today. Thank you very much.